Alrighty guys, going to do an update video on this whole James situation. After yesterday's video, got a lot of questions that I'm going to clarify in this. Yesterday's video is honestly a little bit rushed, and there's maybe a few things that people didn't understand properly, things that I can clarify. So I'm going to do that in this one. People want a deeper analysis, so we're going to go frame by frame in a couple of sections. I'm also going to read a couple of interesting emails that I received that I think might be relevant to this case. And it was also heavily requested by you guys that you wanted the full audio from after he drilled into the tube until the end with boosted volume. So I'm going to give you guys that as well. And I'm also going to overlay a few versions of the footage with different filters so we can try and see a little bit more detail in there. We also have a potential name and location for James, which I will give out just in case it helps solve this as a hoax or not. So this video might be kind of long, and I will leave chapters so you guys can review whichever section you want to look at a little bit quicker. My name is Josh. Welcome to Polarity. We dig into the phenomenon, trying to find the truth, whether it's a hoax or not, pretty much every single day. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you want to stay up to date with this case, make sure you subscribe, and let's just get straight into this one.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
All right, so the first section of this video is just going to be addressing some of the questions and queries, and I'm going to start with some of the easy ones that we can get out of the way very quickly. One of the big things that people seemed to be confused by in yesterday's video was this photo. People were saying, but the door is open. The door is open at the start of the video. And when we look at the actual James video, the door is closed. I believe I did say in the video, but maybe you weren't listening. It's okay. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I did say in the video that this screenshot that we can see here is from a different video. Okay, this is an older video. It was really one of the only videos I could find where we got a good look at this portion of the room that he's in. And I wanted to show it so you guys can understand that there's no light already sitting there. There's two light fixings in the room. They're both on the ceiling, and that's that. That's all that was. The next one, which I kind of thought was funny, was people going, why have you got a black strip? Why have you got a black strip over the video? The video is vertical, okay? This is the video, right? This is the video. It was just sitting over a picture, all right? So we can get that one out of the way as well. That's good. Another big one was, how did he upload this video? He's obviously alive. It's obviously a hoax if he uploaded the video afterwards. No, it was a live stream, okay? When you live stream on YouTube and the live stream ends, it automatically goes up onto the channel as a video. I know because I do this almost every single day on this channel. Another one that I noticed people pointing out a lot was that the drill is going backwards. People were going, but the drill is going backwards. He's doing the drill backwards. It's fake. Yes, he might be doing the drill backwards. I don't know if that means this entire thing is fake, honestly. That's probably just a sign that this guy is not really a tradesman. He's probably just maybe not the smartest guy. And if you've watched this case kind of unfold, you'd probably have already grasped that. Doesn't come across as the most intelligent person. I mean, he's potentially drilling into an unknown object. So I think that's also confirmation of that. But also, if anything, if this guy really is using a drill backwards, that gives you an idea of his competency. And this video has created a very visceral reaction for like thousands of people on the internet. So I don't know. I agree. Yeah, the drill might be going backwards. It's honestly kind of hard to tell though, because it moves so quickly and the frame rate is slow. But even if it is, I think that just shows that he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But again, if you followed this case, you've probably already worked that out. I saw other people saying, why are there no metal shavings? Well, that could be because he's drilling backwards. I saw some people asking how did the stream end? And I mean, you only need to research UAP encounters for about 4 minutes to find evidence and testimony of people saying that their electronics are interfered with or their phone battery has died. In fact, we even heard this just recently at the latest UAP hearing.
There was a little smoke pit outside. I was there on the telephone and looking across to the flight line. And I see a white light pop up and stop about 100 feet in the air. The light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze, dead.
People were talking about this is visual effects. This must be visual effects. You can't really do visual effects like this in a live stream. Not the easiest thing to do. Can be done, need a very elaborate setup. This was being streamed from a mobile phone. As you can see, it's being filmed in vertical. And as we just discussed, if you've followed this case, this guy doesn't come across like the brightest person. I don't know if he would be capable of pulling off live composition and visual effects like this. Something that people have pointed out though is, but the light is not illuminating the room proportionately. I agree with that, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the video. Being a live stream like this from a mobile phone, there is just no doubt to me that this light is in the room. What the light is, I don't know, but it's definitely there in my opinion, and we see it on the tube. I went through that in detail yesterday, and in the filters that I'm going to overlay at the end of this video, you can see it in even more detail, that there is a solid light source that appears in the back of the room that does not move when James or the drill moves. It's solid and static. And again, just to kind of talk about the people saying that like this is a hoax for views and this guy's just trying to get fame and attention. If this comes out to be a hoax, and honestly at this point, I kind of hope it does, because I kind of feel like we've all just watched someone potentially die on a live stream. If this comes out as a hoax and this guy goes, surprise, got ya, like and subscribe for more, what do you think people are going to do? You think people are going to be like, oh, James, you trickster, you got us. Can't wait to watch your next video. No one's going to want to watch this guy. Okay, this is a terrible marketing strategy. Think about it. So just before we get to the frame by frame kind of analysis of what's going on here, I wanted to just show an email that I got that I thought was really interesting. I've redacted the person's name and email just in case, but they said, hi Josh, I wanted to bring this to your attention regarding your latest video covering the UAP that was drilled into. That blue glow you're seeing is consistent with Cherenkov radiation, the characteristic light emitted when high energy particles travel through a medium faster than light travels through the same medium. Combined with the electrical interference sounds described, this raises serious concerns about possible radioactive contamination. If this is genuine footage, this could be an extremely dangerous situation. The heat from the cylinder, the electrical interference, and now this blue luminescence, when breached, are all warning signs consistent with a high activity radioactive source. These scenarios have happened before with tragic consequences. I cannot stress this enough. If this is real, that area needs to be evacuated immediately, and local radiation safety authorities or emergency services must be contacted. Even brief exposure to a source strong enough to produce visible Cherenkov radiation in air could deliver a lethal dose. To anyone who has handled this object or been in that room, seek medical attention immediately and inform them of possible radiation exposure. This is critical in these situations. This needs to be taken seriously until proven otherwise. Better to overreact to a hoax than underreact to a genuine radiological emergency. And I totally agree with that last sentence here. Again, I'm not trying to like die on this hill that this video is real. There are many things to it that do lead me to believe that it is real, despite how fantastical it looks. But at the end of the day, I just want to know either way, is this fake or not? Let's get some actual evidence and try and figure this thing out. I've heard of Cherenkov radiation before. I'd never really looked into it though, but I did just pull up a photo so we can see. This says Cherenkov radiation is the blue glow emitted when charged particles move faster than the speed of light in a transparent dielectric medium. Example: glow from electrons passing through water at a nuclear reactor in Oak Ridge. It's definitely got like a similar kind of blue vibe to what we see in the video, which we'll get to in a moment. And again, 4 minutes of research into UAPs will tell you that there is some kind of intrinsic link between UAP and nuclear energy, which emits radiation. And we know that radiation messes with electronics. And we can hear after James collapses, there is some weird digital interference in the video. The video kind of goes black, and then this weird sort of strobing effect and humming begins to start slowly after that. And that's what I'm going to show all boosted towards the end here. And there are many cases and encounters with UFOs or UAPs, orbs or sources themselves, even in close encounters of the third kind. The radio starts going off, the car turns off, the batteries die. Like this is common. These are common themes that we hear. And I'm not saying like you have to believe this video, but it's just weird to me how many people are like interested in this topic. And it seems like before there's any sort of critical thinking or actual deep analysis to the potential possibilities of this being real, they sort of subconsciously default back to being Agent Smith, and they become the prison guard and they find all the reasons and why it's fake. It's just weird to me. So let's talk about the light and the way that it's illuminating the room. I had people saying like, I'm a 20-year visual effects artist. This light is not illuminating the room correctly. And okay, fair. I'm also a visual effects artist, okay? Not 20 years, and I'm no expert by any claims, but I also do kind of know what I'm looking at and what I'm talking about here. And yes, I agree, it's not illuminating the room correctly. So it must be fake, right? Well, page 9 of the Immaculate Constellation document details this exactly. Under the examples of Defense Human reports on UAP, it says the UAPs appeared to emit a soft orange-red light, which bizarrely did not illuminate the ocean or the flight deck of the CVN, despite the visual appearance of intense luminosity. So what is it? Like, which one is it, guys? You can't really pick and choose here, at least not with such a binary approach, okay? We are talking about the unknown. This is the gray space. If you come at this with a black or white approach, you're stuck in old ways of thinking. We are told that parts of physics have been locked up and classified, and that there is a whole other branch of physics out there that we don't know about. Maybe this is what we're seeing. And just one more time for the people at the back of the comment section with Doritos all over their fingers, I'm not trying to prove that this is real to you. I'm just trying to highlight there is a lot in this video that makes it deserve more investigation and more attention, rather than just becoming Agent Smith and trying to debunk everything because it shatters your mold of reality. All right, here is the original in the middle, and we've got a red color pass filter that you can see on the left, and there is a third one that I'll overlay here at the end when I give you guys the boosted audio, but I'm just going to use these two for now. Look at this red filter. The reds are punched in heavy. This is the same filter all the way through. I'm just showing you this as an example. First thing I just want to show you guys is just look how even in the red filter, how blue this light actually is. It's kind of crazy. All right, let's pause it here, and we're going to go frame by frame. Like, that's pretty crazy, honestly. I mean, you guys see how red that filter is? And this thing is just like pure light punching straight through it. And, you know, like, it's contained like pretty neatly to the walls that are in the room as well. Like, look how it sort of trails down and sits in that little groove of the darkness there. This is not visual effects. That light source is in the room. I am positive of it. I don't know what it is though. I don't know. And then this is the other thing that I wanted to show you guys for anyone who's concerned that it's visual effects. First of all, if it was visual effects, he would have to like 3D track the room, considering the fact that like the camera wasn't on this thing, the camera pans to it, like this whole room would have to be 3D tracked, which I'm sure James isn't doing if he's using a drill in reverse, okay? Now, another thing is here, just like look here, look at the way the light is stretching with the motion blur of the camera. It doesn't matter which screen you're looking at. Look at the tube, okay? So like very bottom left there, we can just see the little rounded edge of the tube in the frame, and you can see light shining off the top of that. Just watch how that light reacts to the motion blur of the camera, and then look at the blue light as well. Like, they are identical. These, look, you can see there is the exact same stretch of motion blur happening to both light sources. So again, this is a live stream. Okay, this is happening live. There's no After Effects. There's no after. It's real time on the internet. And that's basically the last time we see the blue thing. And you do kind of get an idea here. I feel like in the original, it's a bit harder to tell, but for some reason in the red pass, I feel like it's a bit clearer that you kind of see James fall to the ground. You can kind of see that here. If you can, you start to see his head, the shadow of his looks like his head, and everything just sort of slowly heads towards the ground. Yeah, you can really kind of see here. And then it goes dark. And actually, what's interesting is, in the original, okay, when we're watching the original here, it kind of looks like it goes black, right? But we can see here with the color pass that there's actually a difference in the black, okay? The color pass looks darker than the original. But when we're only watching the original at this point, it kind of looks like it's already gone black. But if we just keep watching for a little bit, I'm going to hit there. It actually goes black suddenly, almost like the camera is actually turned off. We think it's black, then something happens there and it actually goes black and it turns off. And then obviously after a while, the strobing effect starts to come back, and I'll show you guys that full thing in a minute. Now, I got another interesting email that kind of talks about the location and where he might be and what's going on. I'll get into that in a moment. The other thing I just wanted to talk about though is one of the most common comments that we got on the video were people that were claiming to be first-hand witnesses, either their partner, their mum, their dad, someone in their family has epileptic fits or seizures regularly. And all of those people were saying this is 100% someone having a seizure. Like those guttural kind of involuntary noises that I said in the last video are just like your body exerting pure panic and shock and fear. That is what that sound is. And, you know, to fake that to such a degree, I just don't believe that that is what is happening in that video. I could be wrong though. I really hope I'm wrong. I actually hope I'm wrong. But man, this guy should be winning an Oscar if that is the case. And I'm sure anyone who works in a hospital or emergency services would agree and back up with what I just said. Myself, and I know others who have watched that video, had a very sort of visceral reaction. And again, no hate to James at all, but after watching his channel and all of this stuff unfold and the way he kind of conducts himself, I don't really feel like he has the skill to pull off like an Oscar-winning performance like that created that kind of emotion in so many people, or to pull off live visual effects from his mobile phone for that matter. Actually, just before we get to that last email, I want to show you another comparison here. So this is the original picture that he posted saying that this is a still frame from the video of it flying, and he said it was moving so quickly that it wasn't showing up in some frames. So he didn't post the video, but he posted the screen where you could see it. Okay, that's his claim. Now, anyone who's watched my channel for a long time might remember I actually showed a video that was taken in the Pilbara region of Western Australia where we see something in the sky that looks just like this. Now, I showed the full video on mine as well. I don't know if we really need to look at the full video. I'm more just talking about the frame here. If people want to see the full video, I can show it. I guess this might be a good time to mention that tonight at my normal time, unless we have any answers that this comes out as a hoax, I'm going to be live streaming. And I think what we're going to do is go through all of the videos that James has uploaded in chronological order and just see if we can find any more kind of clues as to whether this thing is a hoax or not. But this is footage of something zipping through the sky that looks almost identical to what is pictured in James's photo here. And obviously, yeah, this one was taken in the Pilbara region of Western Australia. And you can see, you know, it's got a very, very similar look. And this thing was moving quick, by the way, very quick. But what I will show you, because it's a bit more relevant in terms of time and date, is a video that Red Panda uploaded recently as a clip that was taken, I believe, on like the 25th of October in Brazil. And this is a rod-looking thing flying in the sky that is electric blue, just like the color that we saw in the last video. Check this out.
Vamos ver se vai funil ainda.
Johnny, mas me explica aquela bola branca seguindo ele.
So, you know, I don't know what this is. I'm not trying to tell you it's real, but to me, there's just so much here that is like, okay, let's just relax and actually investigate this thing rather than trying to scramble for reasons on like why it must be fake just because it seems crazy.
Olha lá, ó. Aqui, ó. Aqui na câmera.
Ah, isso aí não é isso na cara. Você pode beber, mas você nem vender.
O meu tá no 15 vezes aqui, ó.
Não, você percebe que eu tô vendo isso naquela estrela ali seguindo ele. Não, isso
Aonde essa estrela?
Starlink é um monte junto. Isso é um tic-tac.
We've got some pretty interesting pictures here, right? Now, first thing I want to say is the video that I showed from the Pilbara region in Western Australia, that thing was moving extremely quickly. Like it was only visible for like a handful of frames, right? Now, when that happens due to shutter speed on a camera, you get a stretching effect, just like we saw earlier when James was collapsing and we saw the light stretch, okay? When this is an effect that the camera creates when things are moving faster than the shutter speed of the camera. It creates a stretching effect. Personally, I think it could be likely that at least this one here is moving so quickly that it's stretching. This could be more of even like an orb shape or something like that. We saw the one in the middle with the blue glow that was moving very slowly. That's at least either like a disc shape, but given that it's being filmed from underneath upwards, I feel like we'd be able to see more of a circle if it was a disc. That does really seem like a rod. In James's picture, The only thing I want to say about that one, I mean, we haven't seen the footage, so we don't actually know how fast it was going. What I will say is, in comparison to the scene, it's hard to gauge distance, but the tube, or whatever this object is, looks far bigger than the tube in his room. Like, think about that. It looks kind of far away. There's sort of mounds in the background. It's hard to gauge how far away they actually are, though, or how big they are. But kind of at first glance, this thing looks like it's bigger. But again, if it's moving quickly, there could be a stretching effect happening here that makes it appear bigger than it actually is. And just for reference, there is the photo again at its normal resolution. So, you know, that does kind of look far away to me. If this is real, then that it must be moving quickly, because to me, that size reference doesn't make a lot of sense. The tube is not that big in real life, so there must be some kind of camera warping effect happening, like we saw when he fell over. I just thought that was worth mentioning. Okay, so let's get to the other email now and the location. So I got this email as a follow-up to the last one that I read. And he said, I would like to add that I have checked the Geiger counter readings and am seeing a spike in Tucson, Arizona. I guess there's a website where you can check this stuff. Tucson, Arizona analysis, and he kind of gives what he calls extreme readings. Now look, I'm not a physicist. I don't know about this kind of stuff. I'm not going to pretend like I do. Probably people watching who do. Let us know in the comments if you can decipher this. But this guy seems to think that in Tucson, Arizona, there was a spike and also elevated radiation in San Bernardino, California right now. And he gives the coordinates, he gives the readings for both of these places. And he says what this means. These spikes are not normal. They're 20 to 30 times higher than background radiation. Pattern suggests a point source. The spikes are intermittent but recurring at the same location. Timing correlation. The most recent spike was this morning at 7:15 a.m., November the 15th, which is roughly when the alleged incident occurred. The readings of 5.9 are concerning, but not immediately lethal. However, if someone was drilling into a source producing Cherenkov radiation, they'd be exposed to much higher doses at close range. Now, the time that he's saying in this email literally lines up like almost exactly when this would have happened. So either this guy is James and he's just like trying to proliferate the LARP, or it's one of his friends going along with it, or it's just someone who knows about nuclear energy and all of this kind of stuff and is doing readings and is saying there's actually something anomalous going on in this region. Now, when I first read this, I kind of dismissed it a little bit because it was my understanding, based on what people have said online, that James is from Wisconsin. Now, we love pulling up the maps on this channel. Okay, we love a bit of geography here. Wisconsin, okay, northeast. Now, this, from my understanding and others as well, does line up with his accent. His accent seems like it comes from this region of America. However, when we look at that photo that we just saw, it's got a very desert kind of region, very sort of desolate and dry. From what I've been told, doesn't necessarily line up with this part of America. Especially when we put on the terrain overlay, like this is mostly green surrounded by lakes, okay? Just before making this video, someone hit me up on X saying that there are rumors of a guy named James Harlan who has just died from a seizure in Alamogordo, New Mexico. Now look, these are just rumors. I asked for a source. I haven't seen one, so I really don't know. I'm just including it here before we sort of wrap up the video in case anyone has any more leads, right? Alamogordo, New Mexico. The environment does seem a lot more like what we saw in that video, more deserty, a lot more dry. And I don't know if it's related, but it's right next to Holloman Air Force Base as well, which is where in like 1954, apparently aliens came and landed. Now, look, that could be probably unrelated, probably coincidence number 7,316, but I thought I would mention it. But again, just reiterating what I said in the last video, I don't think this is some alien object. That was literally the first thing I said in the last video, that I don't think this is alien. People have jumped to that conclusion. But of course, there were still 400 comments of people saying, I can't believe you think this is alien. I don't know if people watch videos with their monitor and speakers turned off, but there you go. Welcome to YouTube. So I'm going to give you guys the full version with a couple of filters for you guys to analyze and look at. And I've overlaid a little bit of text kind of explaining what's going on. I'm going to let the rest of the video play out with that, because this is definitely like a group effort. I'm relying on your detective work as well. There's probably people out there with better visual effects skills than me. I don't have access to the program that I actually used to use in visual effects professionally, which is called Nuke. That's like the industry standard program. I only have DaVinci Resolve now, and I'm honestly not that good in DaVinci Resolve. I can do a bit of color grading, but that's about it. So if there's any pros out there who want to really dig into this footage, go for it. I want to know what's going on here either way. I want people to approach this with an open mind. And unless, like I said, unless James comes out with an update or we have some kind of resolution in the next sort of few hours that this is either a hoax or real or whatever, I'm going to be live streaming tonight at 9 p.m. Adelaide, which is the time that I normally stream. And we're going to go through his whole channel and just kind of go through the clips, talk about it. You're welcome to come and join the discussion, and hopefully we can find a bit more clues as to what is going on here. So here is the full clip of James drilling right up until the end when the live stream cuts out. I'll make sure I display whenever the audio is boosted. I'll sort of give you an idea of the filters as well. And that way we can kind of see what's going on in the environment a little bit better and the strange noises that are happening in the background as well. Hoax or not, either way, I hope we can get to the bottom of this. My name is Josh. Thank you for watching. Give the video a like, share it around, and let's try and get to the bottom of this thing. Peace.
All right, guys, it's showtime. Gonna take this drill. We're gonna see what we can do here. Make sure the bit's tight. Everything ready. I didn't find gloves, which is okay, but anyway, I'm just gonna not use gloves. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. Hold this in my hand. What is happening? Yes, I'm so nervous about this, guys, but anyway. Yeah, we're gonna open this. Wow, is this a bad idea? It does have power. It's in Milwaukee. Look, it's full. Anyway, I guess we'll begin. I'm gonna go right in a hole there. Is this a good idea, guys? So over here, everybody says do it, say don't do it. Sponsor, there is no sponsor. I hope somebody will at least save this in case I die. It's just making me feel bad already, but anyway. We'll start on one. Well, we can't put in one. I guess we'll start at two. What is that? No, I'm sorry.